Over there! Light! We're there, Hugo! Run, Hugo! Run!
A Plague Tale: Innocence is an action-adventure game developed by Asobo Studio and published by Focus Home Interactive. It released earlier this week on May the 14th for PC, PS4 and Xbox One. I'm your host Liam McKelvey, and joining me to tell you all about Plague Tale and the many rats featured herein is the one and only Jake Kukowski. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you very much. Yeah, there's a lot of rats. I don't know if I'll be able to talk about all of them, but most of them. I've got it covered.
Well, just even a little bit will be better than none.
Yeah, so it's the rat game. I've been looking forward to this for a while. You know, they've been like teasing it for years now. I think like 2017 or something.
I remember it being announced at like E3 or something quite a while ago.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's one of them like, and I know it sounds a bit mean, but like, you've got to manage your expectations when it comes to like kind of indie games or whatever. It looked amazing, and I thought, yeah, well, let's see how they pull it off. But it took years. Like 2017, they announced it. It was like some ways done, and it's just come out this week, and well, I've got to say, it's pretty polished, you know.
Well, yeah, what's the game about? What is the general premise of the game?
Well, it revolves around like family, really, more than anything. I don't think you see any rats for like the first hour or something like that.
Okay.
It's like the story of these like two kids, basically. You're like this noble family. I think it's like the Delaroon family. And you play as Amicia, so she's like the main character that you play. And then Hugo's her younger brother. So it's a bit of a weird situation where she hasn't really seen her brother through his life because he's locked away in this room because he's got this disease, and the mother of the family looks after him.
Okay.
Whereas, like, the dad kind of tends to you a little bit more. And then, so what happens is that you're on your sort of family estate, it gets kind of raided by the Inquisition, who are after your brother. You don't really know why. Your parents end up getting got right at the very beginning of the game, and then it's about these two kids kind of, the journey of their survival. They're trying to figure out what's going on. How can they get help? What's going on with Hugo? Why is he ill and all weird and stuff like that? And then it's just about, you know, the people that you meet along the way. Kind of in a The Last of Us kind of thing more than anything.
It sounds a bit like Brothers as well, just a little bit, with the two siblings going out on like a grand journey to like save someone, discover themselves, sort of thing.
Yeah, you know what, I was going to bring this up a little bit later on, actually, so yeah, I'm glad you said it. Brother: A Tale of Two Sons, although the gameplay is quite different, how it handles a lot of the themes is very similar. Like, people have been bringing The Last of Us into this quite a lot, but I think that people that have played Brother: A Tale of Two Sons will find, a lot of similarities here, and especially because of the, sibling connection.
So, you mentioned gameplay just a little bit there, so like, what is the main sort of like gameplay loop in Plague Tale? What's it like?
You know what, it's a stealth game, and I don't know how many other people have been saying this. There's hardly any, like, I don't know, action-y combat bits. I mean, there is some in the game, but because you're just like playing as Amicia, who has a couple of items that she can throw using a sling, and that's pretty much it. And you're up against like the English and French knights and people with armor and swords. So a lot of the game is stealthing around.
Yeah.
And then of course when you're going up against the rats, like I say, you're going up against them, you're pretty much avoiding them because they are like there's thousands of them. So there's not really much you can do. At least in the first like half of the game, it's pretty much a stealth puzzle game. The puzzle element is really simplified. It's very obvious what you have to do all the way through the game. So to be honest with you, you're playing the game for the narrative, I would say. Like, you know, moment to moment, it's just insta-fail stealthy bits basically, and light strategy when it comes to how you handle situations, but oftentimes you're just avoiding people and avoiding rats. Basically, you're avoiding everything. How the rats work gameplay-wise is like, it's like that level in, was it Gears of War like 2 or something like that, where there was those like bat things and you had to stay in the light?
Oh yeah, that was actually going to be my next question as well. How did are the rats like an important part of the gameplay? Because I remember I watched was it like a dev diary type thing just before this, and they were like going on about how they can have up to 5,000 rats on the screen at any given time. Yeah,
the rats kind of become like a liquid, if you know what I mean. Like,
it's popular at the minute, that sort of liquid zombie World War Z thing. Everything's been doing it.
Exactly. So you don't really notice the rats are basically might as well be lava. Do you know what I mean? And like, you use light to push them away, like that Gears of War mission. You can also do other things to distract them, like, I don't know, I'll give you an example. You've got a sling and you can throw rocks, right? So there's some, I don't know, you're on a battlefield and there's some strung up dead bodies. You can use the sling to knock down the bodies. The rats will go and feast on the bodies, and then you can get past. So it's basically just trying to think, all right, I've got this, like, liquid rat pool blocking my way. How do I get past it? So, yeah, the rats, like, don't have much of a singular identity, and the swarm is, even though they are rats, like, it's pretty much just this all-consuming mass that could be anything. The game could still work, apart from the story beats, the gameplay could still work if it was lava, or if it was, like, a mist or something like that. So the rats play into the story a lot, but gameplay wise it could be kind of any sort of floor is lava kind of mechanic.
You said she's the main character, she's got a little brother as well. Do you get to play at him or any time, or is it just like the singular one character?
Yeah, you play as Amicia throughout basically, and you can it's not like just a standard kind of escort quest kind of thing. You do meet a roster of characters. Like, so the people that you meet and the things that you do is very story driven. So I don't want to talk very much about some things towards the end, but certainly in the beginning, like, you do meet people along the way, kind of like, you know, in The Last of Us when you bump into people. But you do have abilities to, like, tell them to go and do stuff. So, for example, like, you meet, like,
so you can give them orders.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, just something as cliche as, you know, Hugo is a smaller child than you. There's a hole through a wall that you can't fit in, so you can press a button, send Hugo through the wall, and he'll open the door from the other side.
Okay.
Typical escort-y stuff. And then you've got things where it gets a little bit more complicated, and you've got, like, a cast of, like, 3 characters, and you need to, like, get one character to hold the drawbridge up while the other one, you know, moves a water mill or something like that. So
that's where the puzzle element comes in.
Yeah, exactly. So whether it's a lot of puzzles are to do with light to keep the rats away, or stuff like that. Yeah, like that you need to cross gaps, chasms, and stuff like that, and you're using this kind of order system to get through. So Hugo does play a pretty important part, I guess. There's this mechanic where you hold on to him and you can let go and do stuff by yourself, but I don't think I did any of that at all, like, unless the game forces you to do it. I just kept him with me at all times, because if you leave him by yourself to go and scout ahead, he starts crying and whinging, and then it brings all the enemies towards you, so you walk a bit slower if you're holding his hand. But I felt like it was just best to keep him with me at all times. So his part in the game is very Atreus, or Atreus, I can't remember how you say it, from God of War. Like, you know, a lot of people will hate him all the way through. Quite a lot of people will find him annoying at first, but he's supposed to grow on you, and obviously with him being kind of kept in this, like, manner at the very beginning of the game, you kind of realise that he's the key to all this. Why are the Inquisition after him? So he's got a very important part to play. So if you're playing for the story, Hugo's kind of the thing that's bringing everything together, so he's a pretty interesting character.
I guess that's really all I have to ask, really, then. I think we've covered everything there. We've got a bit of the gameplay, bit of a narrative.
Yeah.
So overall then, would you recommend it? Did you have a good time with it?
I mean, I did have a great time with it. I think it's quite a niche game. One thing I've not mentioned, by the way, is how good the graphics are. They are amazing. They look really, really good.
It does look very nice from what I've seen of, like, the trailers and gameplay previews.
Yeah, no, it's honestly, there's some characters that have got a bit lower texture, but the way that they do the lighting and stuff like that it's amazing, and the music is very good. It's very, like, strings, medieval outtune violin kind of thing, like the horror film The Witch. It's very similar to that.
Nice.
But I think that overall, it's a great game, but it's like Hellblade in a way that, like, if you're not playing for the story, I don't think the gameplay is going to really amaze you, but it's the set pieces, like, oh my god, I'm in an abandoned castle, or now I'm on a battlefield. You're playing it for the story. It's narrative driven, but I would say that it's, like, narrative reliant as well. So The Last of Us is one of those games where, like, you play it for the story, but the gameplay is all right as well. Like, it's, you know, the shooting's quite satisfying. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is pretty much the same thing, but the gameplay is very stealthy. So if you're just playing for gameplay, I'd probably give it a miss or wait for it to go on sale. But if you want a story, the story is good. The story is very good, and it's one of the nicest indie games I've played this year for sure.
Oh well, that sounds very good then. I guess that's everything then. That was a nice look at Plague Tale. Came out earlier this week. If you didn't hear, on PC, PS4, Xbox One. If you like this video, maybe give us a like, and you want to see more of our stuff, why not subscribe and keep up with all things special moves. So thanks for joining me, Jake. Thanks for telling us all about Plague Tale.
Thank you very much, Liam. See you very soon, my man.
I'll see you soon, and to you, the audience, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.